Okay, so next we're going to talk about reviews. I should have probably talked about this one before the inserts. Hopefully some of the things that didn't make sense during the previous presentation will make a bit more sense now. Also, there's a bit of overlap, so we can't really talk about getting reviews without talking, for example, doing giveaways, because in order to get the reviews, someone has to buy the product. I'm trying to separate things as much as possible, but there will be some overlap in information. Okay, and like I mentioned before, we're starting from the master plan. So just to recap, reviews are important. They're one of the 4 most important things. But I would say they're the least important of the 4, just because all they do is influence the listing conversion rate. And something important to note here is that, let's say you enter a super competitive niche, everyone has a lot of reviews. It might be that you can get away with less reviews and make those up with excellent copy, with excellent images, with enhanced brand content, with the video you post. So that's another reason why I think the initial reviews are important, but long term you can make up the difference in conversion rate compared to your competitors with higher number of reviews by having greater copy, greater images, greater video, and a better rating. So how important are they? Not that important in my opinion, because they have limited impact to the other elements of our master plan. Yes, they help with the conversion rate of the listing, but nothing more. Should you go from 0 to 5 reviews? Absolutely, it makes a big difference in conversion. From 5 to 3, again, absolutely yes. From 30 to 100, yes, but it depends on the product. So for example, for very expensive product, your competitors might have like the best seller might have like 70 reviews. So you don't really need to go to 100. With 30, you might do just as well as your biggest competitor. Going from 100 to 200, for most products, probably yes. But I would argue that once you cross that threshold, you either go from 200 to 1,000 if you're really in such a competitive niche, but going from 200 to 300 isn't worth the effort compared to going from 100 to 200. Okay, so my view as a result, they're more important in the beginning, in the launch phase, less important long term. This also creates a feedback loop for my product picking strategy. I know that more expensive products can perform well with much fewer reviews. So the launch is easier for more expensive products, at least in general. So that influences how I pick my products. I prefer more expensive products, for example, because usually I can get just 30, 50 reviews and I'm doing perfectly well in terms of reviews. More expensive products are also easier to give away in exchange for a review. We're not saying that, but you can imagine that people are more willing to receive a $250 piece of furniture for free versus a $7 dog leash. The big idea, we can structure our product picking to minimize the importance of reviews. So reviews, like today, it's very difficult if you wanted to get into a competitive niche. Let's say you want to get into supplements. I'm not getting into that, and the only reason is because I know it would cost a lot and it would take a lot of time to go from 0 to 1,000 reviews. So instead of worrying about, okay, how can I do that? How can I get 1,000 reviews? I'm instead choosing my products such that I don't need that many reviews. Okay, so reviews, jumpstart plus long term. Then we have dealing with negative reviews. And then patience plus separation, looking at some internal SOPs. Those are the things we're going to cover, and also a bit about Amazon Launchpad, which I mentioned in the beginning. So you've already heard about the Cypher insert. That of course connects to the Cypher funnel and the Cypher strategy of giving away a free item. So the impact of that for getting review, that has the biggest impact. Then we have mom branding, which we'll cover in this presentation. We have dealing with negative reviews. That helps, but much lower impact. And then Amazon Launchpad, I put it as a pedestal, as a sort of base there. It doesn't help with reviews directly, but you'll see it's useful like long term. It provides you stability. We're going to talk about mom branding. So I'll start with a rather long quote for Oprah, just to give you some context about this specific strategy. So I've talked to nearly 30,000 people on this show, and all 30,000 had one thing in common. They all wanted validation. If I could reach through the television and sit on your sofa or sit on a stool in your kitchen right now, I would tell you that every single person you will ever meet shares this common desire. They want to know, do you see me? Do you hear me? Does what I say mean anything to you? Understanding that one principle, that everybody wants to be heard, has allowed me to hold a microphone for all these years with the least amount of judgment. Now, I can't say I wasn't judging some days. Some days I had to judge just a little bit, but it's helped me to stand and to try to do that with an open mind and to do it with an open heart. It has worked for this platform, and I guarantee you it will work for yours. Try it with your children, with your husband, wife, boss, friends. Validate them. I see you, I hear you, and what you say matters to me. Also another quote from David Ogilvy, the consumer is not a moron, she's your wife. So I think this is the question no one wants to ask. If I gave you $7, would you waste your time to go on Amazon, search for a specific pizza cutter, find it, buy it, find the order ID, send me an email to then receive the $7 through PayPal, and then also spend the time to write a long positive review? The answer is probably no. However, what if it was a product you actually needed? And what if it wasn't a $7 product, but if it was a $50 product? What if you received the $50 in advance before you even made the purchase, so there's no risk for you? What if you didn't have to leave a review on Amazon? I didn't condition this free item on anything. It's up to you whether you want to leave a review or not later on. What if you received an extra $10 for completing a survey? So not only am I giving you the product for free, but I'm also paying you $10. What if you were a stay-at-home mom and you could do this every day and make an extra $300 a month just for offering your honest feedback? What if the pizza cutter was the best pizza cutter ever made? Designed by a master chef, a hubless pizza cutter that doesn't mess up your toppings, is made of titanium, cuts deeper than any other pizza cutter, was super easy to clean, and it won a design award. So probably now that $7 pizza cutter just became better. So it's not about angle and how we motivate the customer, but it goes back to the fact that you need to have a great product. If you're just trying to sell the same pizza cutter that everyone is selling, it's just going to be difficult to motivate people to actually want to buy that. If you actually make improvements and you have something interesting to say about the product, it makes a big difference. What if you could beta test it before anyone else? So not only was this a major improvement, like something worth launching on Kickstarter, but you get the opportunity to test it before the masses. So I think all these questions lead to switching your mindset from what I need reviews, to okay, I have to select an audience and I have to think about what they want. What can I do to motivate them, and what's in it for them, not for me? If all you're doing is you're assuming everyone wants a free product no matter what, obviously that doesn't work. The good part is that we don't know who they are. We don't know what do they want, what motivates them, what's in it for them. You can choose the group of people you're addressing to. So before you ask these questions, you know that you will have to be able to answer them. Otherwise, you can't convince them to buy. or to accept that free item. The good part is that because we know we have to ask and answer these questions, we have the freedom to choose any group of people we want. And this goes back to a concept from Seth Godin, creating things that are not for everyone. So if I just told you I have a pizza cutter and it's a pizza cutter for everyone, it's less appealing compared to telling you that this pizza cutter was specifically designed for men who don't know how to cook and hate washing dishes, and this is super easy to clean, and your wife will never, get upset because you use that, and you never clean it. Stupid example, but the idea is that once you make it specific to a certain group of people, for that group of people, it becomes more enticing, more desirable to get that product. So mom branding is just a private reviewers club. It's nothing more than that. However, it has some specific features. So it's a private reviewers club that doesn't feel like a reviewers club. We don't tell them that you're a reviewers club. It doesn't break the Amazon terms of service, or at least not in a blatant way. It's relatively easy to implement. You get all the SOPs, you get the funnel, video walkthroughs, and in this private reviewers club, reviews have a fixed, consistent cost, so you can reliably get reviews at a cost ahead of time before you even source the product. The reviews themselves are relatively affordable, and they can be obtained in large amounts. So the angle is that we're getting product testers. We're not getting reviewers. We never ask them for a review until the very end, and even that is optional. And not only that, we make it very specific to a certain demographic. We're switching from a club built with freebie seekers, like if you think about most review clubs out there that are public, they have freebie seekers, to a community of moms or pet owners, or replace it with whatever audience you want. You just have to make it specific. And let's go with mom. That's why I call it mom branding, because that's what the angle we started with. It's a community of moms whose opinion and feedback matters to the brands they get to interact with. So thinking about, okay, what's in it for them? Why would they want to join this? There's a financial motivation, but there's also, going back to that quote from Oprah, it's that their opinion matters to these brands. We actually want their feedback. So this is a headline on one of the websites: 250 brands looking for moms to test their latest products, receive free products every month, earn between $5 and $15 for each product you test and review. And here you can replace it with, instead of for each product you test and review, with just each product you test, and that's something I actually recommend. There are a few more improvements we can make. Just because we're targeting moms with toddlers, it doesn't mean they will only test baby or toddler products. A good percentage will also want sport products, beauty products, kitchen products, pets products. We can all be pegged to one audience, but we all have all these other interests. So what's nice about this is that you're selling, let's say, supplement products. You can't advertise them on Facebook, or they're not appealing right away. No one wants to join a review club just for a bottle of supplements, maybe. However, if you can start with a different product that really speaks to their hobbies and what they really care about, maybe later on they'll be willing to review or test any other product. So yeah, just showing you, like, you might peg these specific people into the young moms audience, but some of them have a certain interest, some another interest. So if you build a large enough club, you will have all these varied interests. So just because you started with a certain product in mind and you've chosen the audience in a certain way, it doesn't mean that there won't be a sub-audience that is interested to test some of your other products. Okay, so if we compare it to 250 brands looking for people to test their latest product. You can immediately see the difference, how this would be less appealing in a Facebook ad, in a landing page. We're not just looking for people, we're looking for moms. And going further, we're not just looking for moms, we're looking for stay-at-home moms. And we're not just looking for that, we're 250 New York brands. And when we target them on Facebook, we only target stay-at-home moms from New York. So not only the call out there for who they are is relevant, but also the location. Another example, and you have a video in the members area on how we start from the template that you're provided, and we just tweak it, so you don't think, it's just, I have to create a mom branding club. You can create a pet owners club. It can be from New York, from Chicago. You can make it location specific, not location specific. So this would be another example. 250 local brands looking for pet owners in the Chicago area to test their latest products. This would be how they actually join. And you're going to see the actual funnel in a second, but it's super simple. All they're doing is they're opting in with their first name and their real email address. We're not asking on the website, what's your Amazon profile? And also a tweak we've made in the meantime, and I should have replaced this screenshot. We know everywhere where you see review, we now say test, just to eliminate any kind of concern that, we're mentioning something about reviews. Everywhere where you see review, I apologize, I should have replaced these screenshots with test. Okay, so the steps are, and we're going to go through them. You set up the funnel, you run Facebook ads to build a micro demographics group of 300 testers. You send them the email sequence, you keep them happy long term, and you repeat with new targeting. And you can reuse all these people if you want, whenever it's needed. Isn't this against Amazon TOS? I'm sure that there is some rule that we're actually breaking. However, I just want to address some of the concerns. We're not mentioning Amazon anywhere on the website. We're not conditioning the purchase or reward based on them leaving a review. We ask them to complete a survey, so that's what they're doing. They're getting a product, they're testing it, they're completing a survey. Then we ask if they'd like to copy-paste on Amazon. We do not condition that they must be Amazon Prime members. So I would say it's not against the TOS. We also keep these groups small, 300 to 500 people. Depending on our needs, we might go as high as 1,000. But it's not a website or a funnel that we keep open and a Facebook ad that we run continuously. It's something that we run for a few days. It might be up to a month. You will see why in a second, because we also use this for ranking. But it's definitely a page, a website that is viewable to the public for a very limited amount of time. So that limits our risk. There's less risk because no group gets so large that it gets shared on Facebook and we get a lot of freebie seekers joining. Get all the members we need within 3 to 4 days of running the ads, 7 days max. And if you really want, you can stretch it to a month, and I'll explain why you might want that a bit later. The group is not associated to one brand in particular. We're not mentioning our brand when they join. So even if we had someone who wants to report us at Amazon, it just gets a bit more complicated because we're not mentioning Amazon, we're not mentioning reviews, we're not tying that website to our brand. We do use the word review instead of test. I'll already explain this one, that we're now only using test. So this is how the page looks like. Let me see if I go back and here. I'll let this play a couple of times just because it's a GIF image. Okay, so this is the top there. We have the headline that I've shown you before, just some images with happy moms. And we have moms and brands. We want to make it look legit, like, brands can join, moms can join. And it's basically, our website here is a platform where brands and moms can meet and they can collaborate. So brands send us their products, and moms then receive those products and they have to complete a survey. That's the angle we're presenting here. And this website, so you're getting the ClickFunnels funnel, you just clone it to your account, and it's super easy. You just change the text in there to fit whatever you want, the colors, if you're going for a different niche, and of course the images. And you can see like we're using, I don't have the approval of any of these people to use their images. I don't have the approval of Logitech and other brands to put it on the website, but that's why we keep it live for a very limited amount of time. Another example, this one has the angle of pet owners. So it's super easy, it takes like 10 minutes to just take this and as long as you have the images prepared, it's super easy. It's just one page. Okay, so now I'm going to go through these emails. I might skip some of the parts because you have the SOP, but I just want to give you an idea of what the flow, what the flow is like, and how we're getting these people from the Facebook ad to the funnel you've just seen to actually doing what we want. So they've just joined on the website. They provided their email address. So the subject is first name, because we have their first name. Welcome to the website name club, so Mom Branding Club. Hi, first name. Thank you for deciding to join Mom Branding. Before we send you the first product to review, to test, we just want to make sure you understand the process and that you have everything in place. Free products. The 250 brands we currently work with are all on Amazon.com. So the main requirement we have for all our brand members is that you have an Amazon Prime account. And I mentioned that you need a Prime account because with Prime, all shipping is free. While we are able to reimburse the costs of the products themselves, thanks to our wonderful brand partners, we cannot reimburse shipping costs. Thank you for your understanding. The second requirement is that you have a PayPal account. We reimburse the cost of all products through PayPal. This is because Amazon has removed 100% of discounts and they only allow sellers to do lower percentages. But we want you to get the products for free without losing a single cent. This also helps our brands save on taxes because this way they can account for all these reimbursements as marketing expenses. It's a win-win. And by the way, I know you might not trust the reimbursement process. What happens if I buy the product and I never receive the money? You don't have to worry about that. We're sending you the money before you even make the purchase, just because we trust you and because we've managed to convince all the brands we work with that they need to pay upfront. This is something no other product reviewer club is offering. Here we've actually tweaked this last part because we don't want to plant that seed of a product reviewer club. And in the updated SOP, you'll see how we are rephrasing that paragraph there. $5 to $15 rewards. 2 weeks after you receive the product, the brand is expecting a review and feedback. Here again, we've replaced it with just expecting feedback. Because all these brands are using Amazon.com as their sales platform, they expect the review to be blah, blah, blah. I'm not even going to read this part because we've removed it. So right now it just says 2 weeks after you receive the product, the brand is expecting feedback. As a reward for offering your honest feedback, brands are offering between $5 and $15. The money will be sent to your same PayPal account as soon as you've left your feedback. The second, I'm past the part. Okay, what we need from you, please reply with your PayPal address, your preferred category, like sports, baby, home and kitchen, pets. Tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, what things you like. This will help us connect you with the right brands. Thank you, some name at the website name team. Of course, we only have, usually when we build such a club, we have a very specific product we want to give them, but we want to make it sound like, we have all these brands and they can just tell us what they want and, we'll hook them up with the things they like, which of course is not true, but you'll be amazed how, I would say 80% of them actually reply like with really long emails where they tell you about themselves. So for me, that was like the sign that it actually works because, they're not just sending the PayPal address and the category, they're actually taking the time to tell you about themselves, and they really trust the website at that point. Okay, email number 2, once they reply with a PayPal address, the category, and something about themselves, this one is no longer automated. So the first one gets sent right away. As soon as they join, you have MailChimp or Aweber or whatever your preferred autoresponder is. If you don't have one, there's a video in the members area that explains how to set one up. So that gets sent automatically. So for the next one, you need a VA preferably to send these emails in reply to the people. So this person replied, and now the VA is replying back. Hi name, my name is account manager name, and I am your account manager here at Mom Branding website name. As your account manager, I will be available for you every day from Monday to Friday between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. EST. You can change this to whatever the hours are when your VA works. I reply to emails within 24 hours during the week, and most importantly, my goal is to make sure you are connected with brands relevant to you. As you've probably seen in the first email you received from us, as a new member, you will first get access to lower tier brands which are less known and which offer lower rewards, like $5 to $7. As you advance in the program and stay with the club for more months, you will get access to well-known brands and you will get better rewards. $15 plus per feedback, contests, trips, goodie bags, higher value samples. So here is the first product you have access to right now just to get things started. And this is the actual product that we want to get ranked and get reviews for. Brand name, retail price, yours for free, reward for review, reward dollar amount, product image, very brief product description highlighting benefits. Please reply to this email once you're ready to test this product, and I will send you the money by PayPal. Account manager name, and a reminder of the rules in case you missed them in the previous email. Once you claim a product and you receive it for free, you're expected to provide feedback. I will send you the money in advance by PayPal, but you will be required to purchase the product within 24 hours after receiving the money. We will expect an order ID. You will need to provide feedback 2 weeks after purchasing. Okay, and I'll go really quickly through the rest of them. Email number 3, we're assuming they replied, yes, I'm interested. Hi name, you should have just received dollar amount on PayPal. We already have their PayPal address because they replied with that first. The money is your reimbursement sent in advance for buying the brand product on Amazon. Please go to the following link to buy the product, and then please reply with your order ID. And there we're using a super URL to send them to buy the product. Thank you, account manager. Then they've replied with the order ID. Thank you for the order ID. Once you receive the product and you've had time to test it, please let me know. I will send you the survey from the brand, which you will provide your feedback. The survey is short. It will take you less than 3 minutes to complete. And once you're done, I will be able to send you the reward from the brand. Okay, then they've replied with, I've received the product, I've tested it. What's very common, what will happen is they've just received it and immediately they tell you, I'm ready to do the survey, and you have to reply, you have to test it for at least 2 weeks before you can complete the survey. If you want, I can submit you the survey link 2 weeks from now. And you can actually, the VA can just schedule an automatic email to go 2 weeks after that. So email number 5, hi name, I hope you like the product. Here is the survey from the brand. I prefer SurveyMonkey. There are a ton of survey websites out there. So the one I'm showing you in the SOP and the video in the members area, how to set up, is on SurveyMonkey, but you can switch that to whatever you prefer. Once you've completed the survey, please reply to this email and I'll send you the reward. So final email here, email number 6. Hi name, thank you for completing the survey. Brand found your answers really useful and they've sent you the reward. You should have received amount from PayPal address as an optional personal request. Brand wanted to ask you if you wouldn't mind copy-pasting your awesome review on Amazon as well. Here is the review you wrote in the survey. review to copy paste. You can simply post it here, link to post review on Amazon. Please note this is entirely optional, but brand would really appreciate it because blah, 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 blah. And this is how the survey looks like. And we're not just asking, give us a review. We're actually, I found that the longer you make it, I wouldn't go like 20 questions long, but somewhere between 8 and 15 seems to work best. So you want to make it look like you're really interested in their feedback there and ask them relevant questions about the product. Okay, so the typical flow, 1,000 people join your Mom Branding Club, 350 have Amazon Prime, PayPal, and want to continue. There's a lot of conditions there. Depending on your targeting on Facebook, you might get more. But I don't like to target Amazon Prime as an interest on Facebook, just because most sellers do that. So because of that, we only have about 350 out of 1,000 actually have all these conditions. 345 out of 350 usually, if they said, I want to continue, I have Amazon Prime, I have PayPal, they actually complete the survey and get the reward. This does vary from product to product, so these are some average numbers. Then 345 completed the survey, got the reward. Quite a high number, a high percentage of them. In this case, for this product that I've used as an example, it's 310 out of 345 leave a review. We only keep these 310 people subscribed going forward, so everything gets better and better in time. So we won't email the other 690. Even though we paid money to get them into a club, we have their email address, it's not worth communicating with them afterwards. You have these ones who already went through the process, they've provided a review, everything went smoothly, they didn't do a return or a refund, because you might get that initially. But then in time, it just gets better and better because you only keep the best people. Okay, so managing the groups, you don't create a Facebook group. All that is just an email list, for example, in MailChimp. So they opted in, and you have their email address. MailChimp sends that first email out automatically, and then you just have the VA who keeps a spreadsheet of each person's first name, their email address, and they monitor the inbox. Let's say you've created a Gmail account for this or a Gmail for Business. They're just replying to people who reply to the automatic message. And they're keeping track in the spreadsheet of where someone is with the progress. So I've sent them email number 3, and they haven't replied yet. Okay, so this is one of those slides where it's worthless right now for you because you can't see it, but at the top it says Private Review Club Management Template, and you have a column with first name, email, Amazon profile. So that's the first sheet, it's members. The second sheet is reviews, and the third one is products. So this is how a completed one looks like. First name, Alice, then you have her email address, then an Amazon profile. This is something that actually right now, as you've seen in the email templates, we're no longer asking for the Amazon profile. So that I would recommend not doing that anymore. So we don't really need to filter them based on their Amazon profile, but if you want to, you can ask for that in the email as well. PayPal address, then what they said under preferred category. A lot of them said, I'm okay with anything, I like all the things. Others just list all the categories on Amazon. And then you can see the About section. Unfortunately, you can't see here how much they've written, but they're all writing quite a lot. And then Assigned Account Manager, just in case you have multiple VAs doing this. Okay, so you have the template for this one. And then this is the second sheet with the reviews. Again, you have first name, email address, PayPal, what they will review, and there's the number corresponding to the product. You can just write the product name if you only have one. Sum to reimburse, PayPal reimbursed, email sent to request, order ID, review link, reward sent. So this is just a spreadsheet where the VA is keeping track of everything. You know, what happened so far. You know, did I send the reimbursement? I didn't send it yet. She can color code that and so on. Okay, this is an example, mom branding filtered. So after, it's one of the clubs we've created. This one is back from 2017. 496 subscribers after filtering out everyone who didn't respond or didn't have Amazon Prime or didn't have PayPal. This is a standard Facebook ad that we're always using. Like as simple as it looks, it really just works. We've split test this with alternatives, but what you want is the page name should be like mom branding, pet owners in Chicago, whatever the name of the website is, dash free products and rewards. Then all the headline should say the text, receive free products every month, earn between $5 and $15 for each product you test and review. Then the link to the website twice. That just helps on mobile with the tapping. Then an image with happy people. So whether it's happy moms, happy pet owners, moms with babies, whatever you can get, but it has to be people smiling. And then get paid to review products, learn more. So also just to point out, you know, this is one of the first ads we've run, actually I think the very first one. You can see that people actually engage with the post. So, you know, this is a sponsored ad, you know, we're not asking for engagement, but we get like likes and hearts and comments and shares. Like you can see 22 shares, 29 comments, 46 likes and hearts. So engagement is also really good, and you'll get a lot of people who tag friends and they share. So yeah, this works really well. This is an alternative. So I just wanted to show you that if you prefer, you can also start your ad so just in your Facebook ad, not on your website, you can start with a product that you're about to give to them. So if you really have a great product, so I consider that the Rhinoflex laptop table, you know, it's a $50 product. They're getting it for free. It has a nice packaging. You know, there is an audience for people who actually want that. It's worth starting with the first product they're about to get. So for this one, we have home office brand, the link, homeofficebrand.com, 250 brands looking for people working from home to test their latest home office products, get free products plus up to $15 for each product you test. And then in the image, get this $50 product for free plus $10 reward to test it, receive free products every month, blah, blah, blah. And what's interesting are the comments. Like I really love this part. Like again, the engagement is amazing. Like 146 people reacted, 94 comments, 55 shares. And there's some spam. I kept that in there just to show you that you have to manage these ads because there are a lot of people who run these kind of review clubs. So we have Rita Marie there at the top who is saying, hey, want free gift cards, go to, and there's a link. So you have to actually monitor your comments and remove those kind of comments. But then we have Amber, who's tagging a friend, someone else in the comments. Did they give you the money to try a product and then pay you to do a survey on the product? Someone is saying no emails yet. That's because our VA messed something up there, but so the emails went out a bit late. It still worked despite of that. Jamie is saying this is a scam, and then someone else comments, you know, it's not a scam, I promise. So we haven't commented anything on that thread as the brand. So other people who got the laptop table for free go back and they comment, it's not a scam, I promise. Why haven't I received the emails yet? Jamie, there's a whole lot of other people that have registered, and Patty, who is the account manager, our VA, actually has to create the accounts manually. It's not automated. I received mine a week ago and I love it. Thank you for the information, I will wait. So I just love that part. It's just amazing social proof. Emailed a week ago, they sent me advance reimbursement for the item and it shipped today, delivery on Tuesday. I'm getting this exact standing desk to review. It's pretty great. Then someone tagging someone else, then someone tagging a lot of other people. This is the thing I was telling you guys about, sign up. So those are very common comments. This is not, an exception. Like if you really have a great product to give away and you start with that in the ad, those are the kind of reactions that you're going to get. In terms of Facebook targeting, you can do whatever you want. This is just a specific example of something that worked really well if you don't know where to start. So we were targeting parents, and then under parents you can choose the age of their children. So we were targeting parents with toddlers, so child 0 to 12 months and child 0 to 2 years, low income, so 30 to 50,000, net worth under 100,000. Under interest, as I said, I don't like putting Amazon Prime just because every seller does that, so you get a lot of low quality people joining your club. Instead, I like to put Amazon Kindle because it's very similar. It shows that they have an Amazon account, and it's very likely that if they have Amazon Kindle, they might also have Amazon Prime. I also selected Chicago, home ownership, renters, home value under 100,000, relationship status single, work, home office, and with that you can see it's a very small audience now. It's super specific, 5,000 to 6,000 people, just because we've made it so specific. So it's single moms with low income, with Amazon Kindle as an interest, working from home, and also they're rather young, right, 18 to 35. So super specific audience, only 5,000 to 6,000 people in this audience. They're also all just from Chicago in this specific example. So, and still, you get that kind of engagement. So you don't need a huge audience. It's better that you make it specific. Okay, just to show you, again, there's a very detailed SOP and video in the members area, so you don't have to worry about following this along. But all you do is you clone the funnel to your account. This is how it looks like in ClickFunnels. You change the name, Chicago Pet Owners. You change the path, Chicago-pet-owners. You change the domain. If you want, you can put the Facebook pixel in the head tracking code, edit the page, then just change the text and the images. Again, it's more detailed in the members area, so don't worry about that one. Yeah, like I mentioned, so for the setup, there's a ClickFunnels 101 in the members area, 1 hour and 40 minutes. It doesn't cover all ClickFunnels features, just exactly what you need for these funnels. Then you have Facebook Ads 101, 1 hour and 35 minutes, just covering exactly what you need for these kind of ads. And then there's a 50-minute video just showing you how to tweak the funnel with mom branding and turn it into anything you want. So here we're turning it into pet owners in Chicago. Okay, we've already went over the review costs, so I'll just go through this really quickly. So lead acquisition, so your cost on Facebook, 0.31. Only 30% of people end up actually giving their email address. So that's $1. You give them a reward of $5. You have the reimbursement. So, these costs add up, as I've shown you before. But this is how you get a real search, find, buy. You get a full price sales. So not only are you getting all the reviews, you're also getting massive ranking benefits. So that's what I was saying, that there's going to be some overlap between reviews and ranking, because we have to actually sell the product to actually get the reviews. In terms of timing, what I like to do is to do basically 2 different campaigns. One, where even though I'm getting all these ranking benefits, my main goal is just to get the reviews. So let's say I'm giving away 100 units, getting the 30 reviews I need, and then I do a second campaign where I might give away a lot more units, and that's when I really care about ranking. because there's always going to be this timing issue with when you launch between reviews and ranking. Because if you do a ranking campaign right away and you have 0 reviews, you're going to get ranked, but your rankings aren't going to stick. So you need the reviews first and the ranking after. Okay, so just a summary about mom branding. It quantifies the investment required for review getting. It's super reliable, so you can actually calculate all the costs and know exactly how much it's going to cost you to get the reviews, how much it's going to cost you to get ranked. But lead generation in supplements is much more expensive than lead generation in baby. That's just a side concern that I already mentioned. True, but remember, moms will buy supplements too. Pet owners will buy supplements too. With this funnel, the niche of your product becomes almost irrelevant. It's optional because it's so affordable to create these clubs, and it's 31 cents per click. That's our average. And it's basically $1 per email to get a person to join. So the cost of the Facebook ads is so low that it's worth every time you launch a new product, just create a new campaign. But if you want to use the same people, so the cost of lead acquisition is less than 5%, which means you can build a new club every time you launch a new product. If you calculate the cost, it's super low. Send them the reimbursement and the reward. Then say, sorry, our startup failed, blah, 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 due to lack of funds or the brand's lost interest. Just give them a reason why, past that first product, you stop doing it. If you want to keep them happy and engaged, and you have several products you want to launch and you want to use the same people, the way we've done it is with a monthly raffle. So we tell them, this month we have $250 in prizes from the brands we partner with. And what you do is you buy products from well-known brands and offer them as prizes every month. Make sure the phrasing you use is legal. I can provide you a template, consult with a lawyer, but the problem is you can say, we're partnering with this brand and this brand, and if that's not true, what we're doing is we're just saying, we have $250 in prizes from the brands we partner with, and then we just buy products that we know they would want from well-known brands. In terms of legality, you have to make your own judgment on that. How you handle the raffle, it's super easy. You just send the email from MailChimp and you tell them, in order to participate, all you have to do is reply with I'm in. And then the VA puts everyone who replied on a spreadsheet. You randomly choose a winner and you announce the winners every month by email. With this occasion, you remind them that as they test, review more products, they will get access to more well-known brands that offer better rewards. So here are some of the things that made a big difference in the success of Masterclass 1 attendees. Keep testing Facebook audiences. So that was a big concern, and then most people who had this problem managed to fix it. So don't just copy the example audience that I've shown you. You have to test more audiences and be original with that. The creative matters, so test it. One photo of happy people might work much better than another one. The offer, the audience, the ad, and the landing page, you have to get all 4 right. The landing page is tested, so that usually works really well. The ad, you can just copy the template that I've given you and just tweak the image. If you have a problem with this, it's usually either the offer or the audience. So if you don't have a great product, then don't start with that product. So use the first example where we're starting with, join the Mom Branding Club, versus the second one where I felt we have a great product and we started with a product. They still join homeofficebrand.com, but we're telling them, this is the first product you're going to get. And it's important to test the audience, because that's going to be the main point of failure. This is an example from the Facebook account. With blue, you can see the number of leads, and with green, it's the cost per click. Actually, it's cost per result, so that's an actual conversion, someone who got to the last page of the funnel, so they opted in. So you can see it starts Like the green line is super high, that's the one at the bottom, and then the cost really drops, and then it stays quite consistent. But the average cost per result there, and this is not the most optimized campaign, it goes from 175 to 0.63, 0.76, 0.71, so it's under $1 per email opt-in. And then sometimes it gets closer to $1, but these are pretty good costs, so it's not a huge expense. And you can analyze the demographics, and you can look at who's actually converting, who's actually interested in the offer, and then refine it based on that. If you feel that you don't want to run Facebook ads, you can also just join groups and approach people one by one. So for example, one of the products we had was a wine chiller or wine fridge, which is a rather expensive product. We didn't need to give away a lot of them, so we just joined wine groups on Facebook and approached people that way. However, I do prefer, just running Facebook ads. It can all be automated, and it's much more of a system than doing it manually. Okay, Cypher 2.0. So that was mom branding. That's how we get our first reviews, and it's what we also mainly use for branding. Cypher 2.0, you've already seen the insert, and I've walked you through the funnel. I'm just going to show you the setup really quickly. So our main strategy to get reviews long-term is the Cypher. So mom branding is what we use for the initial reviews, right? I need those first 30 reviews. I'm doing a mom branding campaign. And then to get reviews long-term, I'm not running any more giveaways. I'm not sending free product. I'm just including the audio insert or the Cypher insert with the product, and I know that it's going to generate a steady stream of reviews. So that's the purpose of the Cypher strategy. Mom branding is initial reviews, Cypher is long-term reviews. If you're not in supplements, you'll have more than enough reviews after a few months, and if you want, you can switch to offering the bonus item upfront and advertise it in the listing. So for example, what we'll probably do with the laptop table, we will stop offering the mousepad as a free item for them to claim, and instead just bundle it to add more value up front. With Cypher, this is our average review rate, 21%, average lead rate, 34%, and again, the steps are super easy. The customer reads the insert, they visit the link, the customer goes through the funnel, some will leave a review on Amazon, some won't, and then you email them to let them know you received their order, that you've shipped it out, remind them that if they want, they can leave a review on Amazon, that it was delivered. Use these emails to ask for the review again. You're using the law of reciprocity, so you've given them something for free, and only then you're asking something in return. Don't make it mandatory. It would be against TOS to make it mandatory for them to leave a review to receive the free item. You will get more reviews, but that's not necessarily good. If your review rate is too high, Amazon will start removing reviews, but you're wasting a great opportunity to build a positive relationship with the customer where they feel grateful, not you. 3 reminders through email are enough. So we always do just, we've shipped out, here's your tracking number, it appears that the item has been delivered, have you received it? And in those emails, we remind them about the review. Software, in the members area, you will find a ClickFunnels funnel for the page behind the insert. After the live event, video on using ClickFunnels, editing these templates, connect your domain. Again, it's not my idea, copy from BioSchwartz. You also get access to Seller Stats email match. That's actually no longer important. We still have Seller Stats, which is the platform where everything gets collected. It's the back end. But there's no longer an automatic match between the email and the order ID. This is how it looks like for Rhinoflex. Share your experience with our laptop table and get a free ergonomic mousepad. This is built in ClickFunnels, so again, just copy it to your account, change the text, change the images, and it's ready to go. Again, this part has changed now. Instead of searching for your email in our database, now it says, please provide the order ID, and here's a link where you can find your order ID. And then the same thing that you've seen on BioSchwartz. Have the survey. You have the section where they can leave a review. How likely are you to recommend our laptop table to a friend? There's a minimum character count, and it works exactly the same way. And then they submit their experience, and based on that, we redirect them straight to confirming their address, or there's the optional step where they can copy experience to clipboard and post on Amazon. So it's identical to what you've seen on BioSchwartz, but it's all built in ClickFunnels. Okay, the small update, instead of the MWS API, which matches the email address to the order ID, we ask the customer to do that. So instead of searching in our database, we now have this. So how do I find my order ID? Check in your Amazon account. To help us locate your order, please fill the form below. Where did you buy our product? And they choose Amazon, and then enter order ID. Okay, this is the back end. I'm not going to spend any time on that. Just a few final thoughts on this. Why choose an ergonomic mousepad for the laptop table? I simply looked at frequently bought together. So I looked at our biggest competitor, and I looked what's frequently bought together with their product, and was it a cheap enough item that I could source from AliExpress for $3 or $2 or $5 maybe even for this price point. And it was a cheap product, and if it wasn't, I would just look at another competitor and find something rather cheap that is naturally being frequently bought together with a competitor. What's the cost of these reviews? We go for $5 for items under $50, $10 under $100, $24 under $200, and $25 for $200 plus items. So let's say that we have a $300 furniture product that we're selling. The free item that they receive is a $25 product. So let's say that they purchase some big shelves. They might get a free bonus wine shelf that is, the perceived cost is our cost is $25. For them, at that price point, it might be a $25 item from AliExpress. It might be worth $50 for them. And yeah, we use AliExpress. In this case, I'm just searching for ergonomic mousepad. Always sort by orders. That's very important because you want to get a popular item. I didn't really like this one, $7.98, a bit expensive, but it does have free shipping. Others are less expensive, but the shipping is not included. I think this is the one we ended up going with, just 80 cents. They had 4,800 orders, 5,000 votes, 4.8 rating, and just $1.63 for e-packet to the United States. So overall cost like a bit more than $2, and it's a product that has a decent rating and a lot of people have ordered, so it's a reliable supplier. This is similar, even though this appears to be much cheaper at 80 cents, but if you add the shipping, it's $2.43. This one is $3.87, so a bit more expensive, but not considerably more, and it still has a good number of orders. So all I'm trying to say is that it might be worth sourcing or buying a more expensive one. So be sure to also look at the shipping cost. So there is a hidden benefit to buying this one. So instead of just sending them one from AliExpress, yes, it's cheaper. This would cost $5 more. But first of all, they get it almost right away. And more importantly, it's very likely to get the frequently bought together between our laptop table and this mousepad. So the way it would work with this one is you tell them, okay, here's the product, here's $9 on PayPal, please buy it, send us the order ID, and then here's $9 sent to PayPal. You could also go the route of actually sourcing from Alibaba, because the actual cost of this product is super low, so you can actually source it for 30 cents, 45 cents, send it to a fulfillment center in the US, and then use that if you want. So again, you have extra SOPs and videos in the members area. You have the actual SOP, you have the main setup for the Cypher funnel, you have how to set up the item images, how to set up the product image, request ID demo, order shipped, share to win. There's all these videos to walk you through the entire process. So if something didn't make sense in terms of the setup, please don't worry about that part. Okay, and just a few more things about reviews. Negative reviews, I think it's important to talk about these ones as well, because I think you don't have to actually worry that much about them because you need them. A product with no negative reviews looks suspicious. So I think what you actually need to focus on is the rating. So just because you're receiving some negative reviews, yes, it's annoying, it might be a competitor sabotaging you. As long as it's not affecting your rating, like let's say right now it's 4.3, so it's showing up as 4.5 stars. As long as it's not affecting your rating where it goes from 4.3 to 4.2, so now instead of 4.5 stars it shows up as 4, which is going to affect your conversion. I wouldn't focus that much on individual reviews. I know it's very tempting, it's annoying to get those, but again, I would focus just on ranking, not on the negative reviews. And always compare your listing rating with that of your competitors. And of course, in Seller Central, you can supervise your conversion rate. So maybe you received a negative review which has a video or an image, it's really long, it got some votes and is actually affecting your conversion rate. But if it doesn't have an effect, just forget about it. 3 ways to deal with negative reviews if you still, if you need to deal with them. 1 is to get a customer to update their review. 2 is to get Amazon to remove the review. And 3 is to reply and bury. When you contact the customer, it's important to not pressure them and respect the TOS and figure out if they received a broken product or they're just unsatisfied with the product overall. Be friendly and personal, don't offer any compensation. Focus on solving the issue, not on getting the review removed. Make the customer happy and explain how the review affects you as a small business. If they are angry with you or had a terrible experience with your product, then don't continue. Just let them know you're sorry and you'd like to correct that. Things that work well for us are hiring someone full-time to handle this over the phone, moving the conversation from email to phone as fast as possible, as long as we know that there's something that we could correct, like they received a broken product, not that they're completely disappointed with the product, even though it's one that has no issues. Sending a gift from their wish list just to say sorry without asking them to remove the review. This is only for really critical reviews that affect the conversion rate. The law of reciprocity works very reliably. What you should hope for, again, I think this is very important. So the best possible outcome is, of course, for them to change the 1 star to 5 stars. So that's very low likelihood. So from anyone who does anything to their review, so they're responding to what you're saying, you send them a replacement or whatever, it's very unlikely that they will change it from 1 star to 5 stars. The next possible outcome, which is still very low in likelihood, is that they remove the review. A very good outcome that has a very high likelihood is to just ask them through the way you're talking to them, I don't want you to remove the review. I know we screwed up by sending you a broken product. I don't want you to change it to a 5 star. I know we don't deserve that. However, I feel that 1 star is, it's really damaging to us and, we're doing our best to correct the issue. Could you update that to 4 stars? So that's something that they're much more likely to do, and it's still a great outcome for you. A reasonable outcome is just to ask them to update the review, so they might change their 1 star to 3 stars. That is very likely to happen if you go for that one. It's not that great of an outcome. So yeah, my preferred strategy is to go for 1 star, change to 4 star. And it's important to set your goal before you even contact them. Because if you set your goal, okay, I want them to remove the review, the conversation is going to go in a completely different direction compared to if you're fine with them just improving the rating a bit. Yeah, it's not worth contacting Amazon to change your review. However, if you are in Amazon Launchpad and there is something truly wrong with the review, like it's a competitor obviously sabotaging you, that is one of the advantages of being in Amazon Launchpad. Comment, always reply to comments, so especially the negative ones, and just the simple act of replying can turn a negative review into a positive one. Change the perspective of the review. Was it Amazon's fault? Was it a rare occurrence? Was it something you fixed in the meantime? The comment is for future potential customers who will read the negative review. It's not for the actual person who left the negative review. So don't comment. Again, it's important to set up your expectations and understand what your goal is. So when you comment, don't try to convince the person who left the negative review that they're wrong or that they need to change the review. When you comment, just think about the future customers and how someone visiting the listing is perceiving your reply. So imagine that after you comment, the 1-star review will stay there, the rating will be unchanged, but anyone who visits the listing and reads that review will also see your reply. So your reply should be written for future potential customers. Don't worry about negative reviews as long as you don't enter an aggressive niche and as long as your product is something you would buy and you'd be happy with. It's better not to worry about individual reviews. And here I would add just about rating and focus more on ranking and traffic. Okay, and we're going to quickly go through some internal SOPs here. Because there are some interesting stats like the one Dima mentioned earlier. I'll let you read the whole SOPs. Like they're super interesting. We're not going to read them now. I'm just going to give you the highlights. But before we do that, I just want to preface this by saying that most TOS issues, if you look at these internal SOPs, are related to reviews and not to ranking. Like there's tens of pages on how they should handle review abuse, but not ranking abuse. So as long as you're willing to separate those two things, like use mom branding to get those reviews, and then you're fully focused with a mom branding campaign to get ranked, and you don't care that much about the reviews, your ranking campaigns are going to be super successful, and it's much less likely that you're breaking any TOS or that you get in trouble. Recent changes, you have to go slow with. This is no longer that recent, but you have to go slow with the review rate, but not with the ranking rate. Pick a product where you don't need hundreds of reviews, where getting 50 or 70 or 100 reviews is more than enough. Pick a product where a rating of 4 is common, where you have competitors with 4 stars rating that are doing well. And focus on the exit. If you do, you won't be tempted to break the rules, and what will become important will be to protect your listing against sabotaging, fake and unfair reviews, losing all your reviews overnight, and not on gaming the system. So remember that the reduced risk increases your business value. Separate efforts. We'll next take a look at internal Amazon SOPs related to reviews and how they deal with reviews abuse. As we go through the docs, remember that if you manage to separate your ranking efforts from your review efforts, there is almost no concern. So mom branding for ranking plus Cypher for long-term reviews, and no request for any kind of feedback or review in mom branding. those are two examples of how to separate these two efforts. First 30 reviews, get them slowly. Be super careful in the first month. You'll see why from those leaked documents. Mom branding, always enforce the 15-day rule. So don't allow people to post. I mean, you can't completely forbid it, but with a survey and everything you're doing with the Cypher funnel, do your best. Like, don't be tempted to allow people to review after 7 days or after 3 days. Make it, strict, 15 days at least after they purchased. Use Amazon-approved ways to get the first reviews. Like if you're in brand registry, you can use the option in Seller Central, and rely on follow-up by email and inserts such as Cypher for requesting the reviews. Okay, so the leaked internal documents, set number 1. This is internal research into the causal relationship between reviews and revenue. And here they're not referring to our revenue as sellers, but their revenue as a platform. So I think Amazon hired some company to do some internal research to determine how reviews impacted their revenue over the years. And again, I'm just going to give you the summary here, and you can read the full documents at home. Some words in reviews can trigger manual checks. For example, kill, list of trigger words, customer discussions, specific, hate speech, inflammatory speech, offensive English, sensitive data, sensitive subject, and spam. Reviews don't get removed for being inaccurate, wrong, or untrue. They actually have, so if you think, I'm selling a dog leash and someone left a negative review for slime containers, you might think, okay, that's completely inaccurate. Support should remove that. They actually have that in the SOPs, that they shouldn't remove a review just for being for the wrong product. So that's like written 2 times in the SOP, so don't expect that to happen. Reviews that don't trigger gray or blacklist filters are automatically approved. Reviews increase sales by 10.65% compared to no reviews. This is a study from 2012 they've done. So a listing with 0 reviews versus one that gets at least 1 review, on average has 10% higher sales. The Amazon platform had 37 million live reviews in 2010. After just 4 years, they had 134 million live reviews. From the documents, we don't know how many there are right now. Not showing reviews in Google would have led Amazon to lose between $500 million and $1 billion in 2010. So they've run this short test where they've removed the metadata that gets Google to show the rating and the number of reviews in Google search results. And just based on that 3-day experiment, they lost a lot of money, so they stopped the experiment, but they estimated that the total loss that they would have had would have been up to $1 billion, and this was in 2010. What I like about this stat is not just that it shows the power of reviews, but it shows how much traffic Amazon was getting from Google even just in 2010, and that there's a lot of potential in getting ranked in Google to generate revenue on Amazon. Customer reviews section, significant ad placement inventory. In 2013, they made $60 million from ad revenue just from the section that shows up in the customer review part. And it was 28% of all the ad revenue generated. What I like about this stat, it just shows that from all the ad revenue, 28% was from the reviews section. So, in a way, you could go from here and say that, about 28% of people read the reviews. It's a stretch, but it just shows at least that a lot of people go to the reviews section. First review increases sales by 10 to 20%. So going from 0 to 1 increases from 10 to 20%. Product with 1 review products with one review convert 2.89% higher than products with no reviews. And here I'm not referring that, if it was, 30% with 0 reviews, you multiply that by 2.89 and you add that, it's 2.89 points. So if it was, like in this example, it goes from 245 to 534. So that's the average conversion rate. When you get to 5 reviews, it goes to 641, and more than 5 reviews, it goes to 681. They were just looking at this really low number of reviews just because that if you look at most of the products on the platform, they don't have that many reviews. Like if you look at books and if you include all the digital products, and that's why they were looking at lower review numbers. But you can see that getting those first reviews makes a huge difference in conversion rate. Like you don't change anything else other than getting 1 review or getting 5 reviews. And of course, as you go towards 30, 100, the difference in actual conversion rate becomes much lower. And I suspect that things like enhanced brand content, higher quality images, better copy, if you compare them one-on-one, they make a much higher difference than going from 30 to 60 reviews, for example. So that's why I think, copy, images, and all these things that we're going to cover tomorrow are so important because it moves, that burden of getting reviews to something much simpler, which is just the research and understanding what customers want and building your listing that way. This one I thought was interesting because I really don't think it's true, but what they're saying in those documents is that a rating of 3, 4, or 5 results in similar sales volume, rating of 1 or 2 similar lower sales volume. Personally, I really don't agree with that one. I'm not sure how that happens, maybe because they're doing an average or they're looking at it statistically. But probably you've all observed on your own products that a drop from 4.5 stars to 4 can make a huge difference in conversion. Some interesting links, I'm not going to click on them now, but they're internal tools that are actually public. So those are, they reveal a lot of information. You can provide a review ID, review image, and they tell you all this internal information about that review. So those are 3 really interesting links, and it's interesting that they, even though they're internal tools, it even says internal in the link, but they're publicly accessible. Okay, and the internal SOPs, I'm going to quickly go through these ones. I don't want to read them now. They're super interesting. So when you have like 1 or 2 hours to just go through these, you have the PDFs in the members area. They're really worth reading to better understand, how support and how, the people at Amazon, how they're looking at review manipulation. So I'm just going to jump straight to some of the more important things that I wanted to show you and the summary. There's a lot of info in here. Okay, so one that I think it's worth pointing out is that under paid velocity abuse, we considered an ASIN abusive if it meets the following heuristics during the first 4 weeks that the ASIN is actively receiving reviews. I'm not going to go into the details of what they consider to be abusive, but it's very important to point out that they're monitoring everything more strictly in the first 4 weeks. A second one, a number of consistent positive or negative reviews for the same seller, that's considered abusive. So if you create a review club, make sure that you don't get the same person to review all of your products. That's why I like creating a new club every time. Okay. Another thing that's interesting to point out, if 4 or more reviews are posted within 7 days, items from the same seller, suppress the reviews and take the appropriate seller and reviewer enforcement actions. So again, it's a 4 that I'm going to point out again later, but it's about the review velocity. Okay, external site Review Club's MO. Review Club is defined as any third-party site where paid reviews are requested for specific products. Payment includes compensation of any time, commonly free or discounted products, which may be in the form of promo codes, gift cards, and reimbursement. So Amazon is well aware of reviews clubs. So I think what's important is one, don't keep your site, the mom branding site, up for too long just because you don't want to make it a permanent external site that they take notice of. And second, just don't modify the template. We're not mentioning reviews, we're not mentioning Amazon. So if someone from Amazon is going through this SOP and checking mombranding.com, they're not finding anything that they consider abusive or that they consider it's an MO for a review club. Okay. This one is also interesting. File a second opinion ticket, so don't take action on a seller right away. So let's say someone from support, a low-level employee, thinks that you're manipulating reviews, you're manipulating rankings. They're being told to not take action right away, to file a second opinion ticket if the seller has a GMS of more than 500,000 in the currency of the respective marketplace. So if you've made more than $500,000 in revenue in the past 12 months, you basically have a much better status than a lower level seller. So it's much less likely that some low level employee is taking any action against you. So another reason to try to, when you first get started, to reach a certain point with your account, just because you get all these extra privileges that are even mentioned in this SOP. Okay. Also established sellers, so if your first listing has been published more than 1 year ago, you're considered a low-risk seller. If your first listing in that account is more recent than 1 year, then you're a high-risk seller. So what is deemed abusive or the kind of flags that are raised, everything is worse if your account is younger than 1 year. Okay. I wish we had the time to go through all of these. I promise it's worth spending those 2 hours to go through everything that's written in that SOP. But this would be my summary of those SOPs. The power of 4. 4-star reviews are less likely to trigger any flags. So if you do the mom branding campaign, if you've chosen your product such that a 4-star rating is enough, even ask people, please don't leave, no matter what rating you leave, don't leave a 5-star review. 4-star reviews are very unlikely to trigger any flags. It's in those SOPs. Play it slow and cool in the first 4 weeks. When dealing with negative reviews, the best goal is to try to convert 1, 2, and 3-star reviews to 4-star. Do your best not to exceed the rate of more than 4 reviews per day, especially in the first 4 weeks. So this would be the basic rules of what to do to get those initial reviews, or rather what not to do. Some other less important ones: don't use the same reviewer for too many of your products. Avoid reviewers who return or ask for a refund but then still post a positive review. If they've made a return or asked for a refund, don't talk to them anymore. The worst thing that can happen is they actually post a positive review after that. That's an automatic flag that they're raising. Avoid review club suspension by taking down the funnel or the site you used to build the club. So as long as you got all the people you wanted on the email list, take the funnel down. Give preference to reviewers with less than 20 reviews and average rating of less than 4.4 over the trailing 3 months. So this is only if you ask them, what's your Amazon profile, just because I want to check that you have Amazon Prime, for example. If you manage to build your club only with people who've left less than 20 reviews in the past 3 months, And if you average the rating they've left, if it's less than 4.4, those are not, those reviewers will not trigger flags. So for example, a mistake that I know a lot of sellers at least were doing in the past was they would ask for the profile, specifically looking for people who only leave 5 stars. That's the worst thing you can do. You want people who leave less than 4.4. Force customers to wait at least 15 days after purchase before posting a review. Be greedy with your ranking goals, but be happy with the minimum number of reviews that leads to a decent conversion rate. So greedy with ranking, much less greedy with reviews. Because reviews-related activity is much more scrutinized than ranking-related activity. You'll get more reviews anyway because of the inserts. So long-term, you'll do really well in terms of reviews, just don't force things. And this has an influence on the way we pick products. Are there any successful competitor ASINs with rating 4 or lower? There's going to, like when I pick a product, if I notice that the most successful competitors are doing perfectly fine with a rating of 3.5, 4, less than 4.5, that's going to get me to want to get into that niche. Are there any successful competitor ASINs with relatively few reviews? Those are the 2 main things that will influence product picking for me. Okay, so with that, let's do a 5-minute Q&A.
Hey, Troy.
Hey.
So when you say 4 weeks, when does the clock start ticking? So let's say like I activate my listing and it starts to go live. Is that when it starts?
No, from the moment you receive your first review. Sorry, I should have specified that. It's in the SOP. It says 4 weeks after the first review was received. It says that specifically.
Okay, thank you.
How are you going about tracking down the people that leave the negative reviews? Because I used to have a software that does it, but it doesn't anymore.
Right now, okay, so that will be covered in the Black Hat session. There's only a Black Hat option for that.
Okay, so he just asked how to identify the customer who left a particular negative review.
Black Hat session.
Okay, cool. And then how do you upvote a positive review that you want to be shown first? Because that can really influence conversion.
Okay, so what you want to do is to get real people with Prime accounts to vote those up. So what used to work really well is simply like, there were all these people offering services and they were using bots or low quality traffic. You want real people with Prime accounts, so you can even use your mom branding club, people who know are real buyers. What I found is that if you have someone who's spent a larger amount of money on Amazon, they're a higher quality buyer in their eyes, of course, and their vote just makes a much bigger difference.
And also, what's a decent conversion rate in your point of view? 20%, 30% for when someone hits your listing? It's hard to say, it's product specific.
Product specific, the average would be probably 10 to 15%, but yeah, like for furniture, I'm happy with 6%. For the laptop table, it's like 25%. In beauty, 30% might be decent for some. In office, it can be 5%. So the range is really wide.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I want to make sure I don't do something really stupid, so I'm prepared to ask a stupid question. So you are suggesting to do your review, get your reviews before you do a ranking campaign.
Correct.
And it seems like this magic 4-week window is really when kind of you want to be super attentive to that.
Yeah.
So are you saying that for the first 30 days, don't try to rank, just get reviews?
Yeah, just get reviews, and it has to be like get the first review right away.
Yeah.
So it triggers that 4-week interval.
Okay.
And then after that, you can go much crazier with the review rate. You still have to keep it, I would recommend keeping it under 20%, but in the first 4 weeks, you might sell 100 units. If you go above 4%, like 4 reviews in a day, that's going to trigger a flag automatically, no matter how many units you sell.
Got it. So you want to keep your rate, like, I think the number I keep hearing is about 10% or so.
In the first 4 weeks, no more than 4 reviews per
A day. Okay, great.
And then after the first 4 weeks, 10% is ideal, definitely not more than 20%.
So would you still use mom branding for the initial 4 weeks? I mean, that could
Yeah,
get
so
pretty
in the
expensive.
first 4 weeks, I haven't covered that here, but Vine reviews,
Yeah.
mom branding, but yeah, I would mainly rely on mom branding, but it's a mom branding campaign where even though you are getting ranking benefits, you don't care about those.
Yeah.
So it just happens. It doesn't matter that after that it goes away. You're getting the reviews, and then you do a mom branding for ranking.
So you wouldn't pull out your keywords and do your targeted strategy and
No.
all that?
Yeah.
Just first one, let it just get general sales.
Yeah, I don't
And get
care what they're
reviews.
buying through. Maybe I don't even use a super URL.
Yeah.
I just want to get the initial reviews.
Because then you'll stick once you do hit your,
Yeah,
Targeted
and you have to
keywords.
determine, is it
Yeah.
30 reviews enough to stick? Do I need 100? Is it somewhere in between? But you need to get those, so then your ranking efforts actually matter and they stick.
okay, thanks.
I'll try and, in terms of the free gift,
Yeah.
I watched, listened to the podcast that you did with Bud Ban, and you gave away, I think you said you gave away, what was it, a mouse pad with like Texas picture for people that lived in Texas. Do you do that, or did I misunderstand?
Can you
it?
please repeat?
In one of the podcasts, you said for your mouse pad, for example, people that lived in Texas, you sent them a mouse pad with an image of Texas.
Yeah, so remember I showed you, like the last option I showed you was actually let's source the mouse from Alibaba, right? So you source 2,000 units. You send them to a fulfillment center in the US, and with some fulfillment centers, they will have options like, very basic ones like, just add a stamp, add something, Texas, blah, blah, blah. And it's an extra service, like 5 cents, 10 cents. It will vary from fulfillment center to fulfillment center. But yeah, it is an option.
So it wasn't on the mouse pad, it was just on the, say, on the box or on something within the package.
on the mouse pad. So the mouse pads got sent to the fulfillment center, and then we got this extra service to, when someone orders, we do something custom
Yeah, okay.
for them.
Cool.
Make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Just want to clarify on mom branding. The concept there is that you end up possibly, with the example you used was maybe you have 300 keepers that go through the process and they are expecting, some sort of income from that. So you do that for one product, but aren't those 300 people expecting a pipeline of products every single month?
Yeah, so I probably didn't explain this properly, but the way you can keep them happy, even though you don't have more products to give them, is to organize those monthly raffles. So like contests where they can win other products. They won't, like, a percentage of them will be super unhappy, just tested one product and they're going to drop off. Right. Another option would be, you're in room with other sellers who are going to implement this, and you can organize into smaller groups and collaborate, and you create a group of 1,000 reviewers, and you only have one product, but then also someone has another one, and keep them happy that way. Or just let that first club go to the second one, and do it that way. So neither of these two options is ideal. Right. But you have options depending on what's most important for you.
Well, if it's not good to have the same reviewer frequently showing up, you gotta pull the plug.
So what you don't want is a person reviewing just your products, right? So if you keep them, you need to either collaborate with other sellers, so they, 1 in 5 products is yours only, or 1 in 10. Or you give them your products to be reviewed, 1 every month or 1 every 2 months, so they get to review. Naturally, they buy other stuff and they review them.
So you gotta partner up and network with the other sellers.
Yeah, I would recommend you do that, yeah.
So I'm just got a question on timing. So obviously the first 4 weeks is monitored closely. And so you talked about a video insert with the Cypher funnel and doing mom branding to get those original views. Wouldn't your review rate be too high? Like if your first 100 units had video inserts, you showed like a 30 to 50% conversion on that.
Okay, so let's say I want 30 reviews in those first 30 days. That's just like 1 review per day. Even if I need 100, that's 3 reviews per day. It's still under that 4 per day limit. And the only thing that you have to do, which I admit is a bit difficult, is to space out the giveaways. So when you actually get someone to buy, you have to get like 10 people to buy every day to get an average of 3 reviews per day.
Right.
So yeah, it's not the easiest thing to do, but in practice what will happen is, someone emails you, I'm ready to order, and you don't reply the same day or even the second day just because you reached that limit, and you reply 2 days late, and some of them might get upset, but usually they'll be okay. So you have to instruct your VA to space things out, and don't send 20 reimbursements in one day and then no reimbursements. You have to do like
Meter it out.
10 per day, for example, or however many you give in total, space it over 4 weeks, and try to make it equal, consistent from day to day.
Thank you.
Hey, Trent.
Hey.
My question kind of overlaps with his.
Okay?
So I'm a little confused about the review rate. So say you start the mom branding funnel,
Okay.
and you give away 10 products, and out of those 10 people, say 8 of them leave a review. Is that how you calculate the review rate? Or is it like, because that's way over 20% of
Yeah.
the people who bought?
Yeah, you don't want 8 out of 10. So you want like 2 or 3 out of 10. So normally you want a review rate of 20%. But in those first 4 weeks, it's not necessarily is it 20%, is it 50%? It's not going above 4 per day. So if you give away 10, I wouldn't want 8. I would want at most 4, but just to be safe, probably, I prefer 2.
Right. So then after the 4 weeks, you just don't send the email to leave. How would you control that?
Okay, so how you can control it is that nowhere in the mom branding funnel, on the page, in the emails, we're not telling them that they will have to leave a review on Amazon. We're just telling them you have to test the product. 15 days after you test it, you're going to complete a survey. And only after that, we might ask them, would you mind leaving a review? So if we notice that the review rate is too high, we simply don't ask them to leave a review on Amazon. Like half of them we ask them, half of them we don't. So you can control how many people who completed the survey also received the request to leave a review. That's under your control, and you can adjust it based on the review rate you observe.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, so maybe this could be a little case study material. I have a product that has 2,200 reviews.
Okay.
And it's been reduced down from 4.3 to now 4.1. So now it's only displaying 4 stars. And, it's precarious, but it seems now from just watching this example that it's actually salvageable.
Yep.
Would this strategy work to get more reviews so I can get back up to the 4.5 stars? And then also, what I'm thinking about doing is the ones, because I'm able to identify the actual rating per, it's different colors within, it's a parent-child relationship, so there's a bunch of, there's some that have 3.8 and some with 4.6, right? And so the ones that are in the 3s, I'm going to do away with them and then just relaunch a new ASN for that same color, so it'll be easy to start from scratch.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Great strategy, the second one you mentioned. First thing you asked, definitely use mom branding for that. So you just have to do the math, okay, how many do I need? And just keep in mind that you will have to give away 5 times more than the number of reviews you need. So if you need 100 reviews, you will need to give away
500.
If you need 100 reviews, you need to give away 500 units, right? So,
I've heard that Seller Central is going to stop allowing parent-child relationships to combine into a total review
Yeah.
amount.
I think that's already happening across some categories.
So, well, then I guess that my ASN strategy doesn't necessarily work. It just eliminates the negative, but it won't add to the positive.
So, probably, like, I'm not sure what I would do for sure, but I would probably,
Can
sorry.
I help you, Tryon? There's a
please.
system, yeah, it's it's called, but it's a little bit on black hat side, you know. So it's like when you have a ASINs, you know, you can create separate ASINs, but then you can tell to Amazon that this is exactly the same product, you know. And the moment they merge them, you know, they merge reviews as well. So it stays out of the POD violation that they call this right now when you do violations of the
Yeah.
parent and child, you know. But I'm just saying to you, you ask Amazon Seller Central, and it's official, it's legal, you know. So you tell them it's exact copy, not a copy, but exactly the same ASIN, and you ask them to combine, and they will combine, they merge it, so it will not look like a variation, you know.
Even though it's a different color and it is kind of a...
Make the same color, you know. So you're asking me about review manipulation, you know. So.
Okay. Oh, quite- okay.
So you launch blue color, you gain reviews, you know, like for example, you give away for $3 your product, and then you launch exactly the same one, you know, at the normal price that you launch, you know, and then you ask Amazon to merge first ASIN because you already spend a little bit less money, you merge them, and then you already get 100 reviews. Do you get it?
Okay.
Thank
That
you, Dima.
works.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that makes sense. Thank you.
Then last question. Does this is, I guess, an old idea that I've stayed true to, but does every product that you launch on Amazon need a website so you have that external authority when people do product research?
Yeah, I think like it's easy enough now. Like even if you don't want to do it, like what's the cost on Fiverr, on Upwork? It's $100, $200, so why not do it? We have brands where we don't have a working brand website, but I think it's, you know, it's actually just, you know, me being lazy. So yeah, I would say why not do it even if it doesn't make an impact for every brand just because the cost is so low.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, Shane, look, so we have a problem, you know. At first, when we tried the mom branding, it was
Okay.
awesome, you know. But the moment we start to scale, you know, like, and we hit like 3,000 emails in one day, you know,
Yeah.
like, do you use any system to automate the emails and hooks, you know, like, and triggers to go as a flow?
So you can actually do that. You just need it. The reason I'm not sharing that here is because it requires all these additional add-ons. So for example, if you do it with Gmail for Business, there are scripts and add-ons for Google Suite to do more than the traditional filters or autoresponders. You can actually create more complicated conditions. What I would recommend is go on Upwork and search Google Suite and developer or Google Suite JavaScript. And basically you need to custom code that. You hire someone, I would say it will cost you between $300 and $1,000. You give them the flow of what you need to automate, and they're going to create an add-on for Gmail for Business, so Google Suite email to automate everything. So it's doable. It's just very technical, so for most people it would be difficult to implement. But as long as you're willing to hire someone on Upwork and you have the ability to provide them the flow so it's easy for them to understand what needs to happen, I would say it's not that expensive.
Wow, that sounds awesome. Thank you.
And the only limitation is, you know, at least as far as I know, is that you need to use Gmail for Business. Maybe it's available for other email services, but yeah.
Do you have an alternative strategy to mom branding that is totally above board and may cost a little more, but doesn't lead to false expectations by these customers who sign up?
Okay, so if you think this is not
Maybe
above
something
board, just wait for
alternative
the next ones.
that we can use? Maybe a different ad type that we could use that
Okay, so remember how, you know, I showed you two ads. One was the mom branding, and then I showed you the one for the laptop table. I think if you have a product that you really believe is, you know, people are going to like it, like the laptop table, I think that would work really well, just not trying to tell people that they have to join a club, that they'll get more products, just that you'll get this laptop table for free. I'm 99% sure that we could have given away that laptop table that way without any other promises.
Like saying 250 plus brands, maybe something alternative to that.
Yeah. Since English is not my native language, it's difficult for me to come up with copy on the spot, but I'm sure that in terms of concept, just telling them, for example, are you working from home? Would you like this? Would you like to test this laptop table for free? It's $50, yours for free. I'm sure that would have worked without any other further promises. And I think the only thing that you need is a great product.
Yeah, great, thanks.
Hi, you mentioned in one of your podcasts that sometimes it's better when you don't have high quality reviews to get started, when maybe a product got started with a lower review average than you prefer, that you might be better off starting over and recreating a completely new ASIN. At what point, let's say you have a product with about 19 or 20 reviews and it's hovering around a high 3.
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line between it's better to start over or it's better to go to mom branding because you fixed whatever the issue was and continue with that first batch of reviews but just build on that and improve it?
Okay, so let's say that this is a very cheap product where you expect that you'll easily get hundreds of reviews. Those 20 initial reviews, even though they have a low rating, you know that's going to get fixed like in 2 months, 3 months, they're not going to matter, so I wouldn't switch the ASIN then. But let's say that it's a furniture item. Your goal would be like your top competitor has 70 reviews and you already have 20 that are at a 3-star rating. It's not worth keeping those crappy 20 reviews. Like you've seen what difference it makes to go from 0 reviews to 1. You might have, again, maybe the product had some defect or so on. So I would say the answer is it depends on what your ultimate goal in terms of review numbers.
Thank you.
If it's high, don't change it. If it's low, change it. Hi, Jason.
Hey, so with mom branding, we've got our group narrowed down like you do to your 300.
Yep.
And we've only let those people use one of our products.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, okay, they've been waiting there for a year or 6 months. Is there a time frame where it's safe to say, okay, they can go do another review for that brand?
Yeah, so I guess you don't have their profiles.
No, we didn't get the profiles.
Okay, so what I would do is, just because I don't know the number, because I haven't looked into this, but just take 100 random reviewers on Amazon and calculate the average number of products an Amazon reviewer reviews over the span of 1 month or 1 year. And I would say if that average turns out to be more than 5, you're fine after 1 year to ask them again. So let's say it's 5 products per month, then I think it's okay to ask them every month. If it's 5 every 2 months, ask them every 2 months to review one of your products. And yeah, of course, if you can do more than 100 to calculate that average, it's going to get more accurate. But that's what I would do.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Tryon, what are your thoughts, this is a little bit of a black hat question, what are your thoughts about before you actually get your product from China using an FBM listing?
I know it's very trendy right now, like a lot of sellers are doing that. I can't, I don't have a really objective reason for this, but I'm staying away from FBM just because in my eyes, if I compared, I always look at risk. And yeah, I do a lot of black hat stuff, but I feel that there's a very low chance that Amazon discovers that. When you do FBM, even though they might not discover, oh, you're doing something shady with FBM, just the fact that you're doing FBM, I think it raises a flag. It just, it's easy for Amazon to suspect that maybe you're doing something there because you're doing FBM, then switching to FBA. So for me, I consider that, that's a low reward, high risk black hat strategy. So that's why I'm not doing that. But I heard it's very effective, so.
All right, thank you.
Aside of the product insert, are you still using the autoresponder sequence?
No. I've stopped using that when that default option came into play where most people are not subscribed to receive that. I just noticed that for all our brands, the effectiveness of those autoresponder campaigns went down considerably compared to what we're getting from the inserts.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason.
Even for addressing a defect?
Sorry?
Even for addressing defect, like bad reviews?
Yeah, I
Totally
again,
stop?
this is a very subjective opinion that I have, but if you look in those SOPs, there's all this bunch of things that a low-level Amazon employee might consider that you're doing wrong just because you messaged a customer. So I'm keeping my seller customer messaging inbox completely empty, so there's no reason for a stupid employee to do anything related to that.
Okay.
Probably I'm, overcautious with that, but yeah, I'm not sending any kind of
Okay,
messages.
and for monitoring seller feedback and review on a daily basis for UVA, you use a special tool for that? You
I'll
build
share
or
that
you-
tomorrow.
Oh,
It's a
thank
special tool, yeah.
I just wanted to circle back on the topic of an alternative to the mom branding or getting reviews in the first place. Since we're all customers, I asked myself, what compels me to write a review? And the quick thoughts that came to my mind were, when my expectations are significantly exceeded.
Yeah.
Okay, and so how, you can sort of brainstorm with your team, what ways can we significantly exceed it for this particular product? And generically, you might think, just produce more, give them more quantity than they expected, or more features and functions that you advertise, or maybe different multiple uses that they never expected. So to me, maybe all of this can possibly be turned into something called design for review. Okay, so instead of going after reviews in the rearview mirror, or reactively be proactive and design it in.
Yeah, so in a way, we're already doing that, for example, just with instructions. I know that what you're saying is even further than that, like unexpected function, higher quantity, but we found that even including unexpectedly high quality instructions, like we don't advertise the video insert, again, furniture item expensive, worth including video insert. Maybe we advertise some instructions, like printed ones, in the listing, then they receive the video instructions, and the quality is much higher. You're right, like you don't have to ask for reviews, you just get a lot more that way. And yeah, I do agree, like when you have some functions, you've made, like when you get to the point where you've made several improvements to the product, of course that most of them you want to advertise them in the listing, but save just one, so yeah, so it's unexpected, and you are right, it does have a huge impact. So I think it goes back to the fact that it's so important to have a great product and work on that. So yeah, I think it's a great idea.
So you can, divert your resources further upstream instead of, again, you only got so much budget. I'd rather design for review than try to fix it.
Instead of allocating money to get fake reviews, allocate them to product development.
Hi, Tryon. We tend to get a lot of seller feedback that are actually product reviews. Do you regard it sort of like a high-risk activity to try to convert those into actual product reviews?
I do, just because, again, in the SOPs, you'll see that like even something that you consider completely innocent in the way you phrase things, like an employee might consider, you're trying to influence them to, to post something positive. Plus, if you're only messaging people who left a positive feedback and other ones who left a negative one, again, that's considered a violation of the TOS. Of course, you can get rid of all the negative feedback and only then do this one. But personally, I'm still afraid that they can just look at, okay, have they messaged any negative feedback? No, violation. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, thanks.
What are your thoughts on using Amazon's First 5 Reviews program?
So I find that if you have a great product that people want, so I'm not sure exactly how the interface looks like for those reviewers, but as long as you actually generate traffic to the listings, right? I'm not entirely sure, but I think this is how it works. So you generate the sales, and then some of the reviewers receive some sort of email from Amazon. So you are still responsible for generating the sales, and Amazon just might incentivize 5 of those buyers to leave a review. But I do believe that whether it's the first 5 reviewers that you can get through Seller Central, or Amazon Vine reviewers that you can get through Vendor Centrals or some Black Hat services, those are still Amazon programs to get the reviews. So if you can get them that way, definitely do it. Just keep in mind that you still need to, or I believe that you still need to send the traffic to your listing to get those 5 reviews.
Okay, thank you.
So Tryon, this is a follow-up to my earlier question about like the clock ticking.
Yeah.
So let's say we open up our ASIN, it's open, we get a couple people to purchase, and then as soon as one of those reviews comes in and then we close the listing, can we then just wait out the remaining weeks and then open it up after 4 weeks have passed?
If one of those people left a review, yes.
Okay, and then this is probably another discussion around honeymoon period, but does closing the listing like that extend it, or it doesn't matter?
No, it doesn't extend it, and this is one, so for those of you who don't know what the honeymoon period is, when you launch a product, you have, I don't know if it's the first 2 months, 3 months, but immediately after you launch the product, Amazon favors you. So something that I haven't figured out yet is how can we take advantage of the honeymoon period while also being cautious with the reviews, and first getting the reviews, then working on ranking. I don't have a solution for that. So the way we launch products, we completely ignore the honeymoon period. We're not able to take advantage of that.
Hey, Tryon. I just want to make sure I understood, and maybe I didn't. But I use Managed by Stats, and I send out a series of 3 emails to people. Thank you for your order. Your order should be received by now. And then maybe, what do you think of it? I don't ask for reviews. Do you do that, or?
I don't, but I know I'm being overcautious with that.
So you think that there's some risk involved with just communicating and saying yo to the customers?
Yeah, so what I would encourage you to do is read those SOPs, maybe just do a find to find that specific part about seller-buyer messaging to see what the SOP says. After reading it, again, I'm probably being paranoid, but I feel that some low-level employees may, for very stupid reasons, they may misinterpret what you're saying, even though you're not asking for any kind of reviews. They may, and they have the authority to take action against you just because you've sent any kind of message to the buyer.
Well, having been a seller for years, I mean, I wouldn't think that they would take.
Oh, okay. So you're a low-risk seller, more than 500,000. So yeah, in that case, yeah, the low-level employee won't be able to do anything without messaging someone higher up.
And they would look at my performance, and which is exemplary and yada yada.
Yeah. So I think you're perfectly fine. You know, I was just saying what I'm doing, but I know I'm being paranoid for this particular one.
Well, I'll keep in mind, as you know, if I create another seller account and I start using your method of creating new products, I'll take it a completely different way.
So that, you know, I guess the difference is, you know, you have an established account, while every time I create a new brand, for me it's a new Seller Central account. So a lot of the accounts I'm using are either just, you know, under 1 year old or just a bit more. So yeah, if I had just one Seller Central account with history, I would probably do what you're doing.
Thanks.
Sure.
Okay, so you don't send autoresponder sequences.
Yes.
So do you even use Managed by Stats just for the, I guess, the data mining so you can scrape and get the customer's email address?
I don't, just because I'm using the Black Hat services for doing appending, and for just looking at the metrics, I simply have a preference for a different software. But I think Managed by Stats is great. It's not that I think there's anything wrong with it. I just don't personally use it.
But, so I maybe forget about the brand of whatever service you
Okay.
use, but the action of getting appended emails, you still do that?
I don't do that
Oh.
just because it's sort of, it's not white hat, it's not black hat, and for this one I prefer to go fully black hat if I'm going to get the email addresses. I'm going to go over that in the black hat session, but you can get anyone's email address for $1. An append is like, 40 cents. So if I'm going to pay, I'm willing to pay more, but I get all the email addresses, and I know they're not appends, they're the real email addresses.
Thank you.